This is my iPhone.
Is it really?
Yeah, I got tired of it. I'm gonna wait for the comments to show up, and then I know we're live. Yeah, I was in the past, I was using my DSLR, and
Mm-hmm.
but it gets a little like not glitchy, but it just kind of like starts to. It's not smooth, and I like the smoothness of like a regular
Yeah.
camera. And so the DSLR, because it's like so much data and stuff, it takes a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
data, and I was like, meh, and I was like, I'm just gonna like use my iPhone because I found a trick that works so that I can get more control over the picture. And I was testing this like yesterday, and I was like, oh my god, this works so much better, and it gives me the chance to kind of like mess with it and adjust it and everything like that. So waiting for the comments to show up. How's your day been so far?
I see.
Oh,
Yes.
there they are. You see us? Yay!
Um. Well, okay. So like I try to go to the store with the kids on Saturdays,
Yeah.
and it's a mess. But mostly because I still have anxiety about it because I'm a single mom on a budget. So like
Mm,
Michaela gets her little basket and she starts throwing everything in there, and I'm like, but what if we get to the register and I don't have enough money? But then I have to remember like I don't live that life anymore. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So yes.
That's a weird shift. Yeah, I remember that because I like with, and by the way, hey everybody, we are live, and if y'all can see us, that means that y'all can see us. So that's great. We are actually going to be talking about some things for a good 20, maybe 30 minutes at the most, and then I will start reading for y'all. So if y'all want to ask questions, you can start asking your questions now, or you can wait till I start. That way I can get to them when I get to them. But we're going to just be talking and shooting the shit for a little bit first before we start answering your questions. Because this isn't Instagram and I can't bring any of you on. Like as far as video, like everything's going to be text form as far as me like filling out the reading or whatever. But everything that we're doing right now, we're using for a show series that we're working on. So this will be part of that pilot series. So that's what we're doing. But thank you all for joining in and for participating, and we love you all. So okay, so back to what we were talking about. Okay, so you were talking about the grocery store and like feeling that fear of like, I don't know if I can afford it. Yeah, like that was something I remember like growing up, and my mom and I, we would go into the grocery store and we'd be waiting in the line, and it was time to pay for the groceries, and she'd pull out her food stamps with her little book. It was a little book
Mm-hmm.
of food stamps, and she'd find her 5 or her 10 or whatever. And I was always like, I was a kid. I didn't know anything, but I was embarrassed because I'm like, like we're poor, and we're like, it's almost a stigma. Like if you're poor or if you're going to be living using government help, then you're like trash or you're
Mm-hmm.
not nothing. And so I was
Yeah.
always uncomfortable with that because it always made me feel, and I was just a kid. I didn't like know anything about government or spending or anything like that. But there's a stigma that comes along with it. So
Mm-hmm.
now I can go to the store, and I don't go to the store. I haven't been to the store since February. But
Right.
I know what I'm spending money on, but I could go to the store before that, and like I could just grab something and pay for it, and I didn't have to worry so much about like the costs. But
Mm-hmm.
but then you got to be careful, because if you get to the point where you start to spend too often, too much, then you start to run into issues, because then you become an overspender, and then you start to
Yes.
spend too much money, and then you start to go into debt at that point.
There's a
Mhm.
double-edged sword. It's like there's something on both sides. Like you
Yeah.
must find that balance.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So we were talking about like the topic, what we were going to talk about today. You were wanting to talk about the devil.
Hmm.
Just you're like, let's talk about the devil. Yeah. So like, tell me about that like for a second, because we can chat about that for a second.
I don't even remember what it was that triggered me to. Oh, because we were talking about the video size when I was uploading, and you were like, "Girl, don't get stressed." But I feel like a lot of people don't realize that like whatever's causing them the most stress,
Mm,
like to me, like that is the devil in your life. You know what I mean?
mm,
Like that's what you need to work on. That's what you need to be healing and dealing with. So like that's why I wanted to get your thoughts on it, because like what do you even think about like the devil of the Bible?
hmm I think, well, when you go back to like the biblical text, and when you go back to when the text was coming together, because a lot of people don't realize that the Bible just didn't drop out of the sky and fall into the church's lap. Like some people actually believe that. They believe it fell from the sky, and there was a complete text that had everything in it about God and about whatever. And it wasn't. Like the Bible is based on a bunch of books that were with Jewish texts, and there was an old religious belief system. And then here we had Jesus come along, and Jesus was like, "Hey, I'm here to bring the new word. Like what we've been following and what y'all been thinking is going to work for y'all isn't really going to work for y'all. There's so much more to it than what you believe, and you let me empower you." And so he was trying to empower people, etc. And then that went out and started to spread, and there was different factions and different groups that thought that they believed the true way, and which is the same shit we have today. So then
Right.
that, fast forward 100, 200, 300 years, you start to get closer to where the Council of Nicaea happened, where Emperor Constantine got everybody together and said, "Hey, y'all all have different beliefs about Christ and the beliefs of Christianity. So let me bring it all together. Let's kind of put something together and create one source so that everybody can stop fighting
Mhm.
and we can just go off of the one source." So they decided, why we're not going to do away with the old religious beliefs because we don't want people to feel like this is just something made up and there's no authority to it. We want to use the old religion to kind of back up the new religious beliefs that Jesus was starting to bring about, which is they weren't even religious beliefs; they were spiritual philosophies and
Right.
spiritual beliefs and practices. So they tacked on the original text from the old world
Mhm.
religion and all these different belief systems that have really nothing to do with Christ, and then they tacked on the New Testament to that, and they say, "Here we go, guys. Here's the one book. Here's the one source. Go for it." So when you think of the devil, I don't even think Christ mentioned the word devil
Mhm.
or Satan in any of his beliefs. Because if you go over the oldest texts that mention anything to do with Satan or the devil, there's no mention of it from Christ. That's
Mhm.
all stuff that you kind of bring in from like the newer beliefs after Christ existed from the followers and the
Mhm.
and then you also mix in some of the old beliefs. But there was different ideas about the devil, and some of the older beliefs were that we all possess this devilish being within us, and that we're a combination of these higher energies or higher angelic beings, and then we're the devilish beings, and they exist. And that's where you get that idea of like you got the little devil and the little angel on your
Yeah.
shoulder, because it's all possessed within us. And so at some point they kind of messed with that and they created it as like an external being that's separate from you, where it's
Yes.
this
Okay.
like demonic being with red horns and whatever. And at that point they were trying to kind of create a bad guy, because throughout all history,
Mhm.
if you look at all movies, all films, all plays, there's always the evil person or the bad guy. There's always that, right? There's the heroine, and then there's the bad guy. And so they needed to kind of prop up Christ to make Christ feel like he was the good guy, because they wanted everyone to jump on board with that. So they started to kind of detach this idea of a devil and created this separate being. And so over time, it actually became a real energy that people now, when they think of the devil or they think of Satan or whatever, they actually
Yeah.
believe this being exists as an actual being. And in
Mhm.
some ways, that is true, but not necessarily in the way that we think, because in life, we are the church. We bring
Yeah.
the beingness of God into this world. We are the authority of God in this world, which is why, don't pray to God to fix the shit that you should be fixing yourself, because you are the authority. You are God in this world. You are the representation of divinity here. Why are you going to be asking God to fix something when you made that yourself? You created the situation or the circumstances that brought this about. So it's up to you to fix it. God will support that
Mhm.
process, but don't ask God to fix your shit for you, because that's not the place of God,
Mhm.
right? So
Right.
now within us, we have both aspects of divinity. We have the highest form of beingness, which is love, that purity, that love, and it exists in all of us, every single one of us. And then we have the part
Mhm.
of us that is very connected and attached to this world, to this reality, and all of the horrors that go along with it.
Yeah.
And so when you think of like the devil, when you think of like darkness and evil and etc., don't disconnect yourself from that, because we are a part of that as well. That's a part of us. We've created it here. We
Right.
have produced that here. And so there is nothing that exists outside of us. We are it. So everything that we see around us
Yeah.
is a reflection of our being. And when you think of something like a devil or something like a demonic being, and people will, they won't argue with me on this, but I'm coming from a spiritual place, and I'm
Mhm.
using the teachings of Christ and the teachings of the masters to understand this. But it's something that we actually create and continue to manifest in our beingness. And if you get enough people being this lower vibratory energy, because of their thoughts, their emotional reactions, their emotional
Mhm.
beingness, their physical actions. You start to have that energy come together, and then we start to have phenomena that associates with that. So for me, the
Yes.
devil is not an actual being, but it is because we've created it and we continue to
Mhm.
pump energy into that by our own beingness, and it's a part of us. If we stopped existing on this physical spectrum, there would be no devil because it exists within each and every one of us. And we have to make that choice every day that we go into the world and that we live our lives, whether we're going to amplify the light or we're going to amplify the dark. Either way, there's no right or wrong choice because we are ultimately accountable to what we've created.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
So
Queen.
that's the simple answer there right there. Which actually brings me to the next topic or the next thing, because I was having a conversation with Kendall last night, our friend Kendall, and we were talking about like the idea of monetization and how is it okay to monetize spirituality, or you've got all these people who are out in the world, they are pretending or acting like they're the spiritual authority, and everything that they do is monetized. And we were
Mhm.
discussing like, is it okay to monetize spirituality? And the reason why that came up is because we were talking about something that we're working on and some of the projects that
Right.
we're doing. And he was like, well, if you create this and you create this, then it should be like a sell, it should be an upsell to something that you can offer them to buy. And what I told him is like, no, I don't. It's like, for me, if I am here to serve humanity, it's not, I'm here to serve humanity as long as I can make $1 or I can make $1. It's like, I'm here to serve
Mhm.
humanity. Yes, I have the right to earn a living while I'm doing it, but that doesn't give me the right to take advantage of everyone and take from them because they see me as a spiritual authority and they need answers and they need help.
Mhm.
And so everything that I do for people in any way, shape, or form should be somehow leading to them giving me money or bringing me more money. So
Yeah.
that's where it gets tricky. And so for me, it's like, I am here to hurt. I am here to serve. I am here to give. I am here to honor the contract that I have with God, where I'm here to serve humanity in the best possible way that I can. So anything that I know, anything that I've learned, anything that I have been through, I'm going to use that to give humanity as much of what I can as possible. But to try to charge for every bit of that, I'm not okay with that. And you got these people like, and I'm going to use a person as an example, and she might be a very nice person. I'll use Gabby Bernstein as an example, because for me,
Mhm. Mhm.
she's an example of this. Where if you look into Gabby Bernstein, almost everything she does is monetized. She may offer a little free a little free mini lecture here. She may offer a little free something there, but it's all leading back to an upsell. Like, if you read this, by the way, go over here and buy this. If you want to be part of this lecture, be a part of it, but we're going to talk about how you can buy this package while you're doing it. And I don't believe in that, because I believe that you're going to teach and give to others and serve humanity. You should be doing it without this feeling of like having to be paid back in return. And it's really about loving and loving purely, not loving because you're going to get something back. So it's almost this idea
Mhm.
where you can make money off of every opportunity to help humanity or to serve humanity. Again, it's one thing to make a living. It's another thing when you want to get rich off of, oh, what happened here?
I'm sorry, my
Oh,
sister was calling me.
oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, what's going on?
That's why
Yeah,
I was
okay.
like,
So it's about monetizing every single thing that we can monetize, and I don't agree with that.
hmm
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with you. And I feel like a lot of people will look at you sideways if you, the little Skype thing just showed up on my screen. So, like, it will look at you like you're crazy if you're like, yeah, I'm just giving away stuff. Because they're like, well, I need to pay you. I'm like, no, no, this I'm giving to you.
Yeah.
This is for you. Like,
Yeah.
especially like when I read cards for people, I don't charge for that because I'm like, I'm just connecting and giving you what it is that you need to know because my
Mm,
service is totally unrelated to that. Like if I'm giving you that information, that's for you,
mm,
you know? So like I absolutely I think there's a line that you toe because like I want to earn and I want to give information that people can absolutely pay for. But then I'm like, well, am I turning into one of those people? Do I want to,
mhm,
make sure that I'm not hurting others? But I'm like, all this free shit that's going on my platform. I wish
mhm.
somebody would come at me like that. Like, I don't get paid for podcasting, or like. Like, absolutely not. Like, when I write a blog, that's just me giving it to you. Like, I don't
Right.
have ads rolling through there.
Right.
Like, I just think, and okay, and so here's a major issue in the, I guess, the Black spiritual community. And this is like, a lady came to me the other day, and she was like, I'm not sure who I am or what I'm supposed to be doing. And she told me that she had paid a babalawo, which is like a priest for like African spirituality, $500 to tell her what she was supposed to be doing with her life, which only
Mm,
she can really define this from
yeah.
her connection, you know.
Yeah.
But that made me so sad. So I was like, well, here, like, I just told her in an email what she could do herself. And then I sent her on to another woman who is a mentor for exactly what she's trying to do. And that's really where I do most of my work, as a
Mm,
conduit for all of y'all. Like, if there's somebody who is trying to understand their gifts as a medium, like, I have a friend, he's like, I feel like ghosts or spirits keep coming to me. I'm like, okay, well, he's for Ferny, you know, like, there are different people doing different things. And so, like,
mm,
I feel like that's part of my gift, is the people coming, and I just send them to the folks that are going to be helping them. Because what I do is not defined by any type of spirituality, I think, that's out there yet.
mm.
So it's kind of tough for when people come to me for me to tell whether or not they're for me. It's like a specific type of person. So I'm like, well, I'll send you over here.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm like not going to be soft and sweet. Like, I'm going to be showing up in your inbox like, excuse me, you're fucking up right now. This is going to take
Right.
a specific type of person, you
Right.
know?
Right.
So,
Yeah. No, it kind of like, it's funny because Ed and I, my partner, we were talking last night about it, and he was like, "Why are you? What, you look perturbed or you look irritated?" And I was like, "Yeah, because I got into a conversation about Gabby Bernstein. Don't mention that bitch to me. It's like, and I was all fired up over Gabby, which is funny. I don't know her personally. She might be a really nice person. And I was going online looking to see what she offers. And I mean, she does blogs
mm-hmm.
and she does offer some things that I guess you can consider to be free, but everything is tied back. She's a money making machine. It really is about how can I make as much money as possible with every possible connection to you that I have. And I just felt
Mm-hmm.
icky with that because I mean, her heart may be pure, but if you're in a position where you have a lot of this extra that you can offer and give to people, you should monetize all of it. It's one thing, again, to make a
Right.
living, because I have to make a living. I have bills to pay. I have people that I employ. So I've got to continue to do what I got to do to support that. But at the same time, like, I'm not trying to make everything about the money. And I only that, but I also feel like it's really like it's a big spiritual law that if you are going to
Mm-hmm.
serve humanity and if you want to align with the highest purpose possible, you have to connect with the purest form of love and giving that you can, which means do not give just to get back, do not give just to receive, just give. Just give. The universe is going to find a way to take care
Yeah.
of you. Don't worry about how you're going to get taken care of. Just focus on the giving. And it's
Yes.
not giving like out of obligation, because a lot of us have learned how to have been conditioned to give out of obligation. Like, you should give because the church tells you to, or because your mom taught you to give, or whatever. No, give because you feel this beingness within you that if you aren't giving, you are robbing those who are the most in need of having something that they may actually need
Yes.
to get through this place, to get through this reality. And living this human life is not an
Mm-hmm.
easy experience to go through. So it's there's this purity that comes along with that giving. And so you have to balance it out. You have to balance it out. You can be
Mm-hmm.
very successful, you can do well financially, you can have a really incredible business, but also if you really are coming from a place of like true authentic spirituality, you better find a way to give of the most highest and give of the purest form, because you have to balance it out. If you don't balance it out and you're just about the money, at some point something's not going to work for you. At some point, it's almost like the universe saying, "Hey, here's the road, here's the path, go for it." But if you don't stop
Yeah.
and give someone some of the cargo that you're carrying, at some point, because you may not realize is that every time you stop, you're also planting seeds that will affect everything beyond you. But if you just focus on where you're going and what you're getting to, you might find yourself ending up down a really lonely road that doesn't lead to anywhere.
Mhm.
And you missed an opportunity to connect with something that was beyond yourself, with every person that you could have touched, or every person that you could have given to. So I was worked up
Mhm.
yesterday. I was pissed. I was like, "Don't talk to me about, you know." And it's like, again, like I don't know her. Like I don't know nothing against her personally, but it's just the feeling of this. It's like if I sign up for this, it's a mini lecture, but then it leads you back to buy this. This is $3,000. This is like,
Yeah.
what's so fucking different about that? Going to like some of these curanderas or some of these people on the side of the road where they tell you you're cursed, or you got dark energy around you, or
Yeah.
if you don't pay me $5,000, you're cursed for the rest of your life. Like, bam. Like, I mean, for me, like, bam, that's a bam moment, because I'm like, no, 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 no. You are trying to take advantage of someone's suffering. And because of this,
Mhm.
like, no, I'm sorry, but we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
I just think you don't have to charge that much because this really, like we both are always saying, when you are connected with yourself, the
Mm-hmm.
information be there. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So to charge $5,000 to understand yourself is really, really wrong
Yeah.
because some of these people, like you said, it is really difficult to survive here.
Yeah.
For some of us, especially whenever you have mental health issues or just carrying all your trauma with you, your next stop before after you try to reach out to somebody could possibly be suicide.
Mm-hmm.
So if I am like, well, let me see if Gabby can help me, or sorry, I don't know her either, and I get there and it's
Yeah.
$5,000, I'm gonna be like, well, fuck, I'm just gonna go to the garage and turn the car
Mm-hmm.
on because I'm never gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
Not for
Yeah.
$5,000, especially when you only have five.
Yeah. Well, it's also, I mean, what really gets me also is like the churches, because I think that the churches have become so corrupt. I mean, you got all of these, you've got people who don't have jobs right now. Their bills are like, piling up. They're not paying bills because they can't afford it. They got to choose between food and, a bill. And so they can't really, it's not even a choice for them. They're trying to just survive. And then you've got all these churches that just got bailed out and were given millions, billions of dollars. And first of all, they're not supposed to even be connected with anything to do with the government, because it's supposed to be very
Right.
disconnected. There's a reason why it was put in that way. But all these churches got money. I don't see
Mm-hmm.
all of the coverage. I don't see all of the expressions of honoring God and Christ from these churches anywhere. Like, okay, if you just got $2 or $3 million, you better not use that to pay for your lights, to hold services on Sunday. You need to use
Mm-hmm.
that to, yes, you can pay your staff, but you better start getting a food drive together. You better start providing services for the people who don't have that money. You need to start filtering that out to the people, because this is not about the church. If the church has to fail for the people to survive, then let the church fail for the people to
Right.
survive, because the church is to serve the people, not to serve itself. And so it's got to
Mm-hmm.
be about the people. And so I'm hearing all of that, and just woo, piss me off, because it's like, no, like you have to serve people. You're here to
Yeah.
serve people. If you call yourself a church, actually, it's funny because Ed was like, babe, you should start your own church, because you can set
Remember we talked
the
about that too.
example. Right. You can set the example, and you can start teaching these people how to like love properly. And I'm like, well, I don't know, because I don't ever want to be in a position where I'm an authority in that way to
Mm-hmm.
people. I'm here to empower people, not to be the source of power for them. I'm not here for that.
Yeah.
But which is why I am working towards creating an organization that will be what you can consider a church. But these churches are here to serve the people. And if you got money from the government, and you should have never even got that to begin with, these people should have got it because they can't even pay their bills. Okay, you need to find a way to filter this out to those people, because this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. Like what? Where is that? Where is that? Like, this isn't about getting together on Sunday. This is about helping people to survive every single day. If they can't even survive every single day, what the point? What's the fucking point of getting together on Sunday and have them? And not only that, you're probably going to ask them to pay you money or to give you money on Sunday as well to help you support the church. Again, it's like, it's not about the church, it's about the person, it's about the people. There's a reason why Christ had his services outside in the middle of nowhere,
Mm-hmm.
because he knew damn well that if you create a house or you create a structure and you
You have to
empower
take care of it.
that, and then you take away the power of the people and you start to disempower the individual, because they are the church, they bring that with them. So,
Mm-hmm.
girl,
Well, I think, okay, I know we have to get to the e-reading.
mm.
Don't forget.
Well, I'm
But
doing that. I'm doing it the other way. So I'm doing it the
oh,
other.
you're doing
Remember?
the
Yeah,
other
yeah,
way.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
excellent.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so just let me say this real quick, and then you can kick me off so you can talk to your folks because everyone's asking. They want to know about their uncle and
Yeah.
everybody else.
Yeah.
But I think the issue just goes back to the person who created the dollars because we really don't need that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we want to live here for real, we can trade our energy, our services,
Mm.
you know, and that way we're really living in love because, okay, well, I have to be at my highest vibration to do my work that I know I have to do to get what I need to eat. It's not like everybody's hustling for the dollars. Like, someone made that money. That's all I'm going to say. So,
Yeah.
yes.
But what do you mean? Wait. Go back to that because you were saying, like trading and all that other stuff. Like, what do you mean? Like,
Well,
break
yeah,
that down.
bartering, like
Bartering.
whatever
Yeah.
your service is, whatever you're good at, whatever you can do, you know, like we could live that way if enough people were like, yeah,
Well, but
let's
yeah, but
do
not
it. But
everybody.
like
Not
everything is based around the money.
Yeah, but not everybody's going to have something to offer. Not everybody can have something to offer. I mean, you've got some people who are debilitated. They can't do anything for nobody, And it's like, what about those people? They can't trade for something. They can't barter something. They're still going to need some way to be supported. I I think that in being a world, and I'm going to say world because you can say country, but I think we're at a place in our world as a society, civilized society, that we should be able to take care of each other and actually know
Right.
that that's important. Like, I think at some point, people got hooked on the idea that only they matter and nobody else's needs matter, nobody else's worries matter, nobody else matters, I only matter. Like at some point we got so stuck on that idea, on that mentality, that it's all about just the individual. And yes, you should take care of yourself, you should make sure you're okay, you should make sure you have what you need. But at the same time, when you're on a planet where you have so many people suffering and starving and being raped and being killed and being, violated, and violence and all this other stuff, we have an obligation to help people. Period. It doesn't matter really what country you're in or what country you're from. Like, if you're going to consider yourself to be a spiritual human being, an enlightened human being, we have every opportunity on this planet to support each other and to really create at least the basic standard of paradise, which is you don't have to worry about medicine, you don't have to worry about food, you don't have to worry about shelter. And community comes along with that because community is a part of
Right.
that. When you care about the other person, community becomes a part of that. We have every resource to be able to do that, and yet we're still like struggling with just like me, 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 me. No. I'm only going to take care of these people because they're part of this political party. I'm only going to take care of these people because they're part of the same race. I'm only going to take care of these people because they are choosing not to be ghetto and they want to make something better of themselves. Like, there's all these like tribalism mindsets that continue to separate us. But when you get down to it, I believe by nature, people are loving, compassionate beings. And it's a default. It's a default for us. But when we fill our heads up with these different separating identities, we start to create the hell, and we start to empower the devil within all of us to separate and to focus on only what we can gain from the situation. And so, yeah, we can trade. Trade is the basis of like the economy. Trade is the basis of the economy. But I think that the things that we shouldn't have to trade for are the basic things that we can do something about right now. And if anything, the churches should be setting the example for this. The organizations in the world that align themselves with the beingness of God, that are supposed to set the example for Christ and for Christianity, for compassion, for love, should be setting the example for this. And if anything, these churches should have gotten together and said, we are holding food. We're doing soup kitchens. We're doing clothing drives. We're doing whatever. We're going to provide resources to y'all because this is a crisis. This is a situation beyond anything we've ever seen before. So let's do something basic that we can provide people, that we can give to people. And I think that's where we're running into a lot of inconsistency there, because people are calling. It's almost like the Lakewood Church scenario where, we had the hurricane. You got people who ain't got homes. They ain't, what are you doing? Like, you're a church. You've got this massive facility. And yeah, maybe you don't want your church to be completely destroyed because you got people staying in there who may not have manners, who may not know how to take care of shit. Yeah, maybe you don't want that. Maybe you want to, hold to the church in purity for the people who are going to come on every Sunday. But you're still at church. You're still promoting yourself as the representation of God and of Christ here. You're supposed to reflect, you're supposed to exemplify everything that that stands for. And the time you're supposed to exemplify it is in this moment when there is crisis, when there is nothing else for people to turn to. This is the moment that you have to rise and prove yourself worthy of the words you speak and just show it. And that there just, it's not happening. We're not seeing enough of it. I'm sure there are plenty of churches that are helping, but there are more churches that are not and doing enough for the people that they're here to serve. Regardless of whether they're Christian or not, it's not about who you are or what you believe. It's about the humanity of it. The humanity of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready, girl. Like I'm ready to like get that example starting to be set, because it's almost like, what the fuck has happened? You're like, what was going on in this world where we're not even, we're turning on each other and we're trying to destroy each other? Where's the support? Where's the love? Where's the compassion? Where's the exemplification of everything that people stand for?
Yeah, well, people don't stand for the right thing. So let's begin there. You know what I mean? Like the majority of people stand for, like you said, I am out for me. I am trying to get the most dollars that I possibly can. And what you going to do with all that?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to make a bed out of the money? Like,
right.
Come on.
Right.
Like, I don't.
Right.
So,
and it all comes down to accountability. Like, I don't think we are taught in school. I think if we were taught in schools basic things, it doesn't even have to do with religion. If you're taught how to care about your neighbor, if you're taught how to consider other people's feelings, if you're taught how to speak to other people within a respectful manner, so that you're acknowledging them, but you're also respecting that they are different, that we're taught how to mix with the different cultures that exist in this country, because this is a country of many cultures. We're not taught how to mix. We're taught how to only focus on what we're used to, what we're comfortable with. We're not taught how to understand that people are different and they operate very differently. I think if we were taught some of these basic things from the ground up, I think that this would be a very different situation. I think we would be handling things very differently today.
Absolutely. And actually, I have a thing that I'm trying to start with, like, moms of all colors, because we're the ones who are raising the babies. You know, the majority of women are doing the child rearing. Mm-hmm. So if we could, because they're not going to do it in school. Emotional intelligence has never been important at school. It's not going to start being so now. So if we could do like a program just among moms, like I was telling my friend, like, help me start a blog for it, just to get the information out there. And if we could just teach our kids the same things about love, respect, humanity, then when they leave our homes, they'll grow into adults who can operate that way, as opposed to operating like adults do now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like I mean, I was taught to open doors for people, not because they were male or female. I was just taught to open doors to people. Like, you be polite, you consider the other person, you know, open the door. Okay. And so I always do that. It's funny because people think I'm weird. They're expecting me to like expect something back, or like I'm supposed to do something for it. And I'm like, no, like I'm opening the door for you so you can go in. So it's like just this basic, and they stick with you. Like if you're taught that as a child, they stick with you all the way through your like adulthood. Just those little simple lessons. And then there's more to it than that, because then you start to really feel when you smile at another, like when I'm like walking in the trails and I see someone and I smile, they smile back, and there's something that shifts in them, right? There's like a shift that happens in them. And I don't just smile like fake smile, like, you know, it's like, that's a fake smile. That's my mama smile, like that's a fake smile, right? I'm talking about like it's this like depth, deep, drilling smile. Like, I love you, I see you, I honor you, and I'm not here to hurt you. Like, it's just this like intention behind it. And I think that if we started to teach from the ground up just these basic things, I think that would make the biggest difference for the next generation and the generation after that. And it really is going to come down to the generations before that come after us, because what can we do at this point?
This is trash.
I think we're the representation of 2020. Yeah, and there's a really good documentary on Netflix that's coming out, and I want to talk about it on the next one, because we're gonna both have to watch it. It's called Unwell, and it's about like the spiritual community and how people seek spiritual teachers and spiritual guides, and they're being taken advantage of, and they're just giving away their money. And I think it's important
Yes.
that, because I think it's one of those things where I've been saying this for a while now, like the spiritual community is really fractured. And just because someone calls themselves spiritual doesn't mean that they're a good person. That just means that they're trying to some people are trying to find a path that works for them to connect with source. Some people use the term spiritual to bring themselves up to an elevated position so that they can judge and they can critique everybody. And that's no
Mhm.
different than them being like a Christian, like, I'm going to sit here and damn everybody. Then there's people who are in the spiritual community who are completely taking advantage of the situation because they know that people don't have anything else and they're trying to use that opportunity to kind of get people and take advantage of them. And then you've got people who actually are trying to like build themselves up and grow spiritually and teach spiritually. And unfortunately, I feel
Mhm.
like more than half of the people in the spiritual community are just really fucked up. And I'm writing an article, but that documentary I think talks a lot about this situation. I'm going to totally tune into that because I know a lot of people in the spiritual community are going to immediately start to bash it because they refuse to accept
Mhm.
that there's this going on in the spiritual community. It's the same thing as like the political community. It's the same thing like the Christian community, because in the Christian community, it's all broken in pieces too. There's like
Mhm.
fractions and factions everywhere. So, all
Yeah.
right.
Just like the guy that took that girl's $500. I was like, baby, I
Yeah.
know a free Facebook group you can join to get your information.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. And people like they come to me, they're like, "Hey, like I'm willing to pay you. Can you do some work for me?" Like, and they want to pay me thousands of dollars to like to just like pretend like I'm doing something. And I'm like, no, like that's bullshit. Like, don't do that, and don't let anybody talk you into giving them your money. This is what you need to do, and then I'll give them a book or something to go actually do. I'm like,
mhm.
it's gonna take real work. Don't expect someone to fix your life for you because that's on you. And if you think that somebody's gonna fix your
Mhm.
life for you, that's you're gonna basically set yourself up to have to deal with this bullshit for a long time to come. So,
Exactly. And we ain't
mhm.
gonna move no energy to make you feel better. You got to do that.
Yes, yes, exactly, exactly. Well, thank you, Mama, for joining me on Saturday, and enjoy the rest of your day. And I
Yeah.
will talk to you again next week on Saturday.
All right. Okay. Everybody enjoy. I hope y'all get y'all's answers. Bye bye.
Bye, Mama. All right, y'all. So it's time for readings, y'all. So I'm gonna be jumping around here. So y'all can go ahead and start asking me questions. I'm gonna pick a few of you out to be answering. I'm not going in any particular order. I'm gonna try to go through as many as I can. I'm not gonna be able to get to all of you, so I don't want you all to be angry because I can't connect with all of y'all. But let's see. Let's go. I'm gonna be running through here. Of course, if you are asking a question, please be specific because a lot of people think that I know everything and that I can like magically understand every single thing you're thinking. It doesn't work that way. So I can sense emotion, I can sense energy, but I don't know everything. So please be specific so I have an understanding of what you're wanting to know, and then I can dive into that. If you're wanting to, if you're asking about your life, really be specific. You can ask about your health and wellness, your finances, your career, and working relationship, but you got to be specific about what about that you want me to tune into. If you are asking about someone in a relationship or a romantic situation, just know that your comments are public. So you want to make sure you're careful if you don't want someone to see your comment. So you can just use an initial or whatever. If you are wanting to ask about a loved one in spirit, just let me know who you want me to connect to, and I will try to connect to that person and give you something that is connected to them. And it's not like I can see them the way that I see or hear them the way that I can hear someone speaking to me. They communicate through a form of telepathy. So as soon as their energy connects with me, I'm going to start to have my thoughts, my emotions, and my memories get triggered, and I've got to figure out what they're trying to say or where they're going with that. So that's the way that works. Um, Also, I am not a licensed medical doctor, counselor, attorney, or a law enforcement official. Doesn't mean you can't ask me those kinds of questions, but for legal medical advice or treatment, please consult a licensed professional. You are the ultimate authority, so you decide what is best for you in your life. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I can tell you what I see. I'm not going to tell you what to do. And you are accountable to your decisions. So if you decide that you're going to take things in a particular direction or you're going to make a particular decision, that's on you. That's not on me. I'm just giving you what I'm seeing, what I'm feeling. I'm going to give you advice, but you are ultimately accountable to your own life's decisions and choices. My statements are personal opinions, not proven facts, so you have to decide what's best for you. Okay? All right, so let's jump around here, y'all. Um, mm, 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 mm. Oh, here's a good one by Catherine. Hi, I adore you. Thank you. I adore you as well. Just started a travel and wine blog. Can you tell me if you think this will be a successful adventure for me? Yes, so I think this is going to have to be handled in a couple of different ways. Even though you started a travel and wine blog, I also feel that what will end up happening is that you may have the opportunity, again, to monetize or to start to form relationships with particular brands or particular smaller companies or businesses. And I think that you're going to have to find a way to do it where you're not promising to promote something as if it's the absolute best thing, but that you're going to try it and then you're going to give your honest feedback about it. But you know, there's no way to control whether you're going to enjoy it or not. So I think that you will have these opportunities for some sponsorships. Interestingly enough, even though you're talking about a blog, I'm actually seeing a podcast. So this might turn into a podcast as well as a blog as well. So I do think that this is going to change and morph. I also see 2 years. So I think that you might really start to dive into this over the next 2 years, and it's going to be kind of an experimental thing. At some point, I do think you're going to also work with somebody else to kind of expand this into something else as well. But I do feel that you might start off on the right foot. So you just have to stay focused and try to form as many business relationships as you can as far as sponsorships, because I think that can really help you to continue the momentum with this. Okay. Alyssa, 1 year just passed since my husband's death. Does he have a message for me and the kiddos? Yeah. So as soon as I tune into your husband's energy, first of all, I immediately, as soon as I saw your picture, and I was thinking about your energy, I immediately saw this guy on a bike. I don't know if this is a bike like a motorcycle or a type of like hybrid bike, or if this is just a bike like biking together. But I'm seeing this image of like biking. So I don't know if you just went with your family biking and he's acknowledging that he was there with you guys when y'all were just biking, or if he actually was a bit of a biker himself and he's referencing something about bicycles or bikes, because he's making reference to that. He also keeps acknowledging the number 5, so May or the 5th of a month might be significant, and he's wanting to bring that up. He also, thank you, there's a child or a baby there with him in spirit, so there might be a child that was miscarried, lost, or terminated, or a baby connected to the family that he's wanting to let you know is there as well. He also keeps referencing, thank you, I keep seeing Joey, but I'm seeing Joey Buttafuoco. I'm seeing Joey, the name Joey or Joe. When I think of Joey, I think that's also a nickname for a goat. So I don't know why I'm thinking of a goat, but I think he might be talking about Joe or Joey name. So there might be a Joe or Joey name he's wanting to reference. So if he's the Joe or Joey name, he's just giving me his name. If there's a Joe or Joey in spirit or alive, he's acknowledging that person in that way. So he's just wanting to bring attention to that as well. Also, he's putting something around my neck, so he's making me feel like there's a connection to him with something that is worn around the neck, and there may actually be 3. So he's acknowledging that as well. Okay. Let's see. Tam. Hi, Ferny. Let me know if you can if I can tell you who my spirit guide is. Yeah. So your spirit guide. So first of all, your spirit guide is not a family member. A lot of people think that the spirit guide is a family member who's passed away. No. The spirit guide is there from the moment you are conceived, even before that, because they're helping you to plan out like what you're going to do here. So the spirit guide is an energy that's there before you're even born, and they're there from the very last minute to when you're done on this earth, and then they review stuff with you. So they help you kind of work through stuff. They're kind of like a guidance counselor. So the voice in your head that's sometimes telling you maybe you need to go in another direction, or maybe you need to stop trusting this person, or maybe you need to have some faith and start doing more of this, like that voice in your head of conscience that sounds like yourself, it's actually not you, it's your guide. They're using your own mind and your own internal your own internal conversation to your thoughts to communicate to you. So they're guiding you through your entire life. They're not going to control you. They're not going to keep you from making mistakes, because you're ultimately the accountability here, but they're going to be around to help you with a lot of different things. So Tam, your guide's name, I believe your guide's name is Ricos, Reek, Os. I think that's how you would spell it, Ricos. I've never heard of a name like that. I thought it was like Ricky, but I'm seeing more like a Ricos. So I feel like it's a male name is Ricos, and that is the name, I believe, the name of your guide. Okay. Da, da, da. Hey, Lizbeth. Hello, Ferny. I'd love to understand how I can achieve my greatest good in my life. What advice do the spirit guides, have for me? So here's the thing, Kay. I feel like you sometimes can be a go-to person for a lot of people, and there are a lot of people who may seek you or feel drawn to you, and you might have a tendency of being attracted to people who turn into projects, even in friendships, even with family members, and in relationships. And I think that part of this is because you might actually be really good with coaching or counseling work or just being a guide to others, kind of like a spirit guide, but a living guide. So I think that you would probably do a really good job of doing any work or getting involved in anything that has to do with supporting others, guiding others, giving them, and empowering them options in their lives. So I think that anything like that would really work for you. Any way that you can find a way to do that, I think you would find yourself fulfilled. If you continue to do that with the people around you or the people in your life, you're almost just, I feel like some of it might be a waste, just because it's important to help the people who are looking to be helped, who are asking to be helped, people who are just wanting someone to do something for them, or you trying to get in there and help others. I don't feel like it's really your highest purpose. So I feel like that may be training, but I think that doing something like this, where you can be there for others or help others in that way, I think would be a benefit to them. Okay. Mm-hmm. Josie Amador. Hi, Fernie. Do you have a message from my husband for my grandkids? Yes. So immediately as I think about this, first of all, I keep seeing a hat. So I don't know if there was a cap or an actual like sombrero or a cowboy hat that is connected to your husband, because I'm seeing a cap or a hat, but I'm almost seeing something on the wall. So I don't know if there's a special like hat on the wall or something on the wall that feels like it's a cap or a hat, but there's a reference there. So there's an acknowledgement there. Either that or one of the grandkids had a hat fall and they thought it was really weird, and he's letting us know that that was him. The second thing is he is acknowledging the number 11. So I want to say that either 11th of a month, November, or January 1st is connected, because he's acknowledging that 11 number. So there's a reference there. He also makes me feel, thank you, I can smell coffee. I don't know if he was the coffee drinker or there's actually another male, because I'm almost seeing two other males as well that was a bit of a coffee drinker. But sometimes when you smell coffee and there's no coffee being made, it might be their way of letting you know that they're around you. Your husband also makes me feel that he is the one that has been moving stuff. So I don't know if like sometimes when you're like at home, you're looking for something and it's been moved or it's been relocated, and then the next day you find it and it's in the right spot. He's making me feel like he's messed with stuff, or he's tried to get your attention by moving stuff around to get your attention. So he's acknowledging that as well. As far as like the grandkids are concerned, he's shown me the number 3. So I don't know if there's 3 of them specifically that he's wanting to acknowledge, or if there's he's talking about the 3, so he's bringing up the 3 for some reason. So I'm going to assume he's maybe talking about 3 of them, where they need to work things out with their parent, or they need to work things out with other people in the family, because there's something about a dispute or maybe a little bit of a disconnect that may be going on, and he's wanting to bring up or wanting to acknowledge that they need to work on. So there's a reference there as well. He showed me balloons also, so I don't know if y'all released balloons for him twice, or if there's 2 separate balloon events around him, because he's showing me balloons and I'm seeing twice, unless there's 2 balloons that are recent, but he's referencing that as well. Okay, let's see. Okay. Brianna Mares. Hello, Fernie. I have been wanting to see if you can channel my mother, Cindy Cabello. Any messages she have for me? Did she see what I did for her birthday? So first of all, got it. So she makes me feel like she either was ready to go or this was a bit of a struggle for her. So I don't. Thank you. She's almost like this wasn't an easy passing for her, or this wasn't an easy thing for her, because she's making me feel this way. She's also acknowledging that she was afraid, or she was fearful of passing, and she actually was trying to avoid or trying to kind of like ignore that it would be the reality. So she's acknowledging that as well. So it may have been harder for her towards the end of her life. She's also talking about, thank you, there's 2 girls, or there's 2 rings and two girls. So I don't know if her rings were given to two girls or she's acknowledging the two rings and then there's something about the two girls because there's a reference there. So she's acknowledging that as well. She also keeps referencing that she, I don't know if you guys found something funny happen with the toilet or with the plumbing, or there was like water turned on, or the water was left on, or the toilet flushed itself. There's something about the toilet or the plumbing because she's bringing that up for some reason. So either there's issues going on right now and she's just saying she sees it, or she did it, but she's referencing that as well. She also keeps acknowledging three candles. So I don't know if you have had three candles connected to mom and she's acknowledging the three candles, or if there's a place where there's three candles and she's acknowledging this place. I almost feel like there's an altar because I feel like there's an altar and then there's the place that you honor her at. So there's almost like two places to be honored at. She is acknowledging, thank you, the flowers or the roses. So I'm assuming that you put out flowers or you put out roses for her because she's making reference to that. She's also showing me, thank you. I also don't know if y'all got together for her birthday and ate out, or if y'all went and celebrated her birthday at a restaurant or at a place to eat. But it's almost like I feel like I'm eating food or cooking food. So there's a reference there as well. So she's acknowledging that also. She also keeps, thank you. Anthony or Tony. So she's acknowledging the name Anthony or Tony. So there's a connection there in some way. There might actually be more than one. There might be three. So there might be three separate Anthony's or Tony names that are connected to the family. I wouldn't be surprised if one of them is actually passed because she's giving me the feeling of that as well, or reference to that as well. Yes to the birthday. So she's acknowledged, she says yes. So I'm assuming she's saying yes, she knows what you did, and she's acknowledging and being fine with that or appreciating that as well. I'm also seeing balloons. So I don't know if you actually got balloons and like went and like put balloons next to her site or next to her remains, but she's acknowledging that as well. Okay. So question from, oh, that wasn't the one I picked, but okay. Jess B, hi, how are you? There's someone I love, and my intuition tells me he does too. Am I right? And when will he be able to commit? So I do feel that there is a emotional connection there. There is some romantic love there. So I would say that. I would say there's a feeling of connection there. However, you're asking if he's going to be able to commit. I'm not seeing him being able to commit. I think that's going to be an issue. You might have to wait. I don't want to tell you to wait, and then you're just like there, sperandolo, and then he never really like showed. He never really um, commits. So I would say this: give this person 4 months. Make your intentions or your emotions really clear. If they cannot make changes to accommodate the opportunity for you two to connect, I would just move on because I don't want you waiting around and then he's not able to commit. As of right now, I'm not thinking he's going to be able to commit, but I would say give it a shot and see if you can maybe bring him around a little bit. I also think there's somebody else in the picture that he's going to have to either push out of the picture or he may have to make some changes because there may be somebody else he's been talking to or he's been involved with. Okay. Okay, let me see. Go back to this one. See if I can get Jess. Oh, there we go. That's the one I was trying to pick, and then I ended up going with Jess. Hey, Ferny, what does my love life look like? I have two people in my life I'm wondering about. Can you please help me out on what's best for me, please? So I get a feeling that you're probably going to stick with the person that you've been dealing with. So I feel like one of the people that you're referring to has already been in the picture. They've kind of been kind of hanging by. I wouldn't say hanging by a thread because I don't feel as strong a tie to them, but I feel like you might still try to work through that or stick with that person. Honestly, I don't feel great about either of the options. I feel like both of the options just, I don't feel like it's the best fit for you. And I think that there might be better options out there. I also think you probably need to date completely different types of people because I feel like the types that you're attracted to or the types that you're drawn to, I just feel like are not really giving you what you're going to need, are not going to bring to you what you're going to need. So I think you probably need to like try outside of the norm. That doesn't mean you shouldn't go like going and trying to get into a relationship with someone you're not attracted to. I'm just saying you need to change your type, meaning change what you're comfortable with, change what you're normally attracted to, because I feel like you're missing out on opportunities that might be better for you. So I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel confident about either of these two options. But what I'm seeing you do is I'm seeing you sticking with the option or the person that you've kind of had a history with or you've already had some connection to that's been rolling a bit. Okay. Kristen Mary. Um, Hi, Ferny. Will I meet someone for a long-term relationship soon? I am feeling more lonely than usual. I haven't been dating, lol. Yes, so a couple of things. One is I do think that there are some traumas in your past that you may need to work through. I don't know if there's self-esteem traumas or emotional traumas, but I feel like there's some stuff there that is affecting you, that is kind of sitting with you. So you probably need to work through that, just because I think that that is affecting what you're drawing in into your life. But with that being said, I do think that you will get into a serious long-term relationship. I think this would it's a while. It's not anytime soon. I want to say that this might not happen until October of 2022. Yeah, so this might be a while from now. However, I think there might be three separate opportunities that come up before that time. One of those opportunities could technically work, but I feel like the person is long distance, so that may make it complicated. And I also feel like the person is not the easiest to get a hold of because of the work that they do. And they might even work in the government or do some, I almost feel like special ops, or they are in the military. So they might have a connection to that. That person may pop into the picture. I want to say this might be either November, December of this year or November, December of next year. But that's one option. You're going to have three, but that's one option. The other two I don't feel like are going to be anything. They just might be like for fun, or you just might meet some people. But the one option that's connected to the military or the special ops thing, that person I feel like there might be a real opportunity to have something with. Okay, let's see. He's like, love Selena, girl. Like I have to represent. I have to represent. I've got a surprise coming for one of the shows coming up in the near future, because I'm working on something. But I love my Selena. Like I have stories that just I'm gonna do a video on these stories. Just, or I might actually talk about it when I do the surprise. So I'm not giving away too much. I'm gonna shut my mouth up. Okay. Um, Rebecca Lopez. Hi, Fernie. Good evening. Anything coming through from my ex, my father's daughter, or what do you see for me with my job situation? So as far as the ex is concerned, immediately I keep feeling like I'm having trouble breathing, and I'm having trouble in my chest or in this area here. So I don't know if there was an effect on his breathing or effect on his chest, or something was keeping him from being able to take a full breath, because I feel pressure here. I also feel that I feel a little bit loopy in my head. So either he was on something, or something happened that he wasn't able to stay focused, or he wasn't able to kind of stay coherent, because I feel a little loopy in my head as well, because he's acknowledging that. He's also making me, I feel like I want to throw up. So I don't know if whatever was happening to him or what was causing this started to cause him to become violently ill, or there's a feeling of like almost like stuff coming out of my mouth because he's making me feel this way. He is making me feel like his passing, he does make me feel like his passing was an accident. So I don't know if I don't feel like there was an intention behind this, but he makes me feel like this might have been an accident or just like circumstance. It may not have actually been like an intentional passing or intentional death, because that's the way he's making me feel. He's talking about these two people, so I don't know if there's two people with him when he passed, or two people there that he's wanting to refer to, because he's acknowledging that as well. He also keeps referencing he tried to get your attention when you were in the bathroom, or by, I almost feel like something slammed, or a door slammed, or some cabinet door slammed, because he's making me feel like he tried to get your attention. He's also referencing that there's a chachi or a cha-cha or a chacho name person that's there. So there's a chacho kind of name that's in spirit that he's wanting to let you know is there, because he's referencing this person being there as well. He's also acknowledging, I see stars and stripes. So there's a stars and stripes that might be connected to that, or there might be a connection to a stars and stripes date, like Memorial Day or the 4th of July, etc., because he's acknowledging that also. He also keeps referencing, also showing me Tony. So there's a Tony or an Anthony name that he's wanting to make reference to, or he's wanting to acknowledge. But I almost feel like the Anthony or Tony might be someone that's alive, and he's wanting to acknowledge this person that's alive, or he's wanting to reference them. If it's someone that's connected to him, he might be just trying to say hello or wanting to bring them up as well. I'm asking him, like, do you want to apologize or, say that you're working? He's laughing and he was like, okay. So he's almost being a smartass and he's almost like, okay. So he's writing on my skin, so there might be a tattoo at some point that's going to be connected to him, or he might have actually gotten a tattoo for either you or for the child, and he's wanting to reference that. But he's also letting you know that he is sorry that he didn't listen, or that he didn't hear what you had to say about things, because it's almost as if had he listened to you or had he heard what you were saying, then he would have made different choices in his life. And he's almost feeling like he dismissed what you had to say. So he's just acknowledging that. And he doesn't want you to feel like he dismissed you as a person or he didn't appreciate you. He just didn't know how to because of his upbringing or because of the way that he handled things in his life. Okay? Hmm. Okay, Liana. Hi, Ferny. I am turning 58 in September and want to have bariatric surgery to lose weight. Do you foresee it being a good idea? So I get a feeling that you will, in fact, have it. I think you might actually end up having to have two separate procedures because I feel like there might be two different surgeries or two separate procedures. Here's the thing. Even though you're asking me about a geriatric surgery, I want you to keep an eye on your reproductive system and on anything that has to do with like fibrosis or fibrosis, because there might be a tendency, or I don't know if you've already had a hysterectomy, or there may have to be some sort of a hysterectomy type of scenario, but I do feel that there might be a situation that comes up where you might have to consider that as an option. So it's interesting because even though you're asking me about a geriatric surgery, I'm also seeing this other type of procedure as well. So I kind of want you to keep an eye on that, because if there's something you can do about that or to kind of get that under control, then by all means, please do. I don't feel bad about a geriatric surgery. I do think that the recovery period might be a little bit rougher, a little bit harder on you, but I get a feeling you're probably going to go forward with surgery. And like I said, there's going to be two separate procedures or two separate ways that this will be done, because I feel like what it currently exists with these procedures has kind of morphed and changed over time. And so I feel like there might be a newer version or a newer procedure that is kind of being the standard. So the way you understand the procedure may not actually be the kind that you end up having. Okay. I also think this will all happen within 8 to 12 months. Ferny, do you see my future? Jordan Taylor. Hey, Ferny, do you see a move in my future? Yes, there may actually be a move in November. So I feel like around November-ish is when you might be moving or might be making some changes with your location. Okay. Okay. Angie Alvarado Olivares. Hi, Ferny. It's my birthday today. Just wanted to see if my mom, brother, or grandma wants to tell me about how things will go with my dad. So the thing about your dad, I think that here's how I'm seeing this. So a few years ago, my mom, this is a while ago, but my mom, she had fallen and she had dislocated her elbow or her joint here and kind of broke it. And then it healed because they didn't follow up with the proper tests when they were checking this in the hospital. So it kind of became dislodged and then just kind of stayed that way. And whenever she went to the doctor, they would tell her everything was fine. So obviously that they were not doing what they were supposed to be doing. So I feel like with her, they wanted to do a procedure to correct it, but because of her condition, there was limited options to what they could do, so they decided they were not going to go forward with it because she was too high risk. I feel like with your dad, there may only be so much that can be done. It might get to a point where y'all may just have to make the best out of it because there may be limited options and it may not be something that can be corrected or fixed or completely changed. So I feel like over the next 6 months, y'all are going to have to just try to adapt and try to acclimate to what the reality of the situation is. And I feel like from there, y'all will just start to make him comfortable and do the very best you can to try to help him stay as comfortable as he can. That doesn't mean that he may be going anywhere anytime soon, but I feel like it's more about making him comfortable and making sure that he has what his needs. He has what he needs because there may be limited options to what's available there. And I think that this might be something that is made clear in the next 2 or 3 months. So there may be several conversations around this. I also think that he might need to go from one facility to another, or there might need to be a move from one location from where he's at or from where he's been staying to another location that might be better suited for him. That may get a little bit difficult because it's almost, I don't want to say putting the nail in the coffin, but it's almost like it's going to make it very clear that his situation may not be something that's reversible or that can be improved drastically. Now, I don't want to take y'all's hope away because I want y'all to do whatever y'all need to do, but that's the way they're making me feel. And so that's what I would say about your dad is like y'all are probably going to have to just do the very best that you can within what is offered, but it may not be an ideal situation. Okay. By the way, your grandma comes around you and your mom come around you. Both of them make the scent of flowers, so you're going to smell flowers randomly with your mom. Also, she likes to mess with the kitchen appliances. So if y'all have any weird stuff with the kitchen appliances happen, that's your mom. She's just coming around saying hi as well. Okay. Crazy Judith or CRZ Judith 1. Hi, Ferny. Will my Aunt Sandra find the one soon and have any kids? I feel like your Aunt Sandra is very picky and also she has really like unique expectations that are limiting or blocking her from being able to let anybody in because I feel like there's some things that she might have experienced growing up and it's almost like she's like got a buffer between her and people. I think that your aunt needs to probably work on her energy a little bit and work on like some self-healing. I also think there's a really great book by it's an audiobook actually by Brene Brown called The Power of Vulnerability. And it will help her to get a little bit more open and more receptive so she can let people in because I feel like sometimes she's keeping people at arm's length. I also think that she is going to have a chance to reconnect with someone from her past. It may not be an ex, it may be like a friend or someone she used to like live next door to. And that may come up, I want to say by the end of next year or early 2022. That's actually an option for her if she wants, if she decides to just give it a shot and go for it. But I feel like she needs to work on her energy because as of right now, I feel like all these different, it's almost like the way I think of your aunt is almost like I think of an airport. You've got all these planes that are waiting to land and she's like telling them no. Like she's like putting out energy where she's like telling them no, no, no. And so they're like not able to land. They're not able to like connect with her. And I feel like in her life, she's got a bunch of opportunities that are there. She's just not even allowing the energy to come in. And because she's not letting the energy come in, they can't even get close to the airport. And I think that she needs to work on that. So, but as of right now, I think there might be an opportunity that comes up for her around the end of next year with someone that she may already have been affiliated with. It could also be someone that she knew from school, and they just like they reconnect like years later. Mama, mama, mama. Da, da, da. Mhm. Miss Rosalinda Castillo Reyes. Hi, Ferny. I have been dreaming heavy lately. That makes me feel heavy in thought. Sometimes with my heavenly mama, has she been sending me a message warning? Thanks, Ferny. I think the heaviness that you're feeling has more to do with the people around you, or has more to do with just the world in general. Because I think that you have a very big heart and you're very sensitive. You're actually psychic yourself, so you pick up on stuff. And so the heaviness that you're feeling has more to do with what you are feeling coming forward in our in our in our society, let's put it that way, but also the people around you being more affected. And there's just a lot of heaviness there that you're starting to pick up on. And I wouldn't say it's a warning, it's more of a, there's energy rolling in, circumstances are going to reflect that. So just, you might need to do the very best you can to get through it as best as you can. As far as your mom is concerned, I keep seeing the name Lily or Liliana, or unless there's like lily flowers that are connected to mom, because I'm seeing those. I also keep referencing, like, she's showing me a necklace, so there might be a necklace or like a religious necklace that might be connected, because she's making reference to that as well. She's also acknowledging Mari or Marie or Maria. So there's a Mari, Marie, Maria name that she's also making reference to. So there's a connection to that name also. She showed me the number 2. So February, the 2nd of a month might be significant. It could also be the 22nd though. But I'm thinking it's like February or the 2nd of a month, because she showed me that too as well. She also references, there's a dog there that might have passed. I want to say it's a smaller dog that looks like it's a mix, so it might be a mix between like a poodle, or it almost looks like a terrier actually. So it might be like a little terrier or a little. It's got the coloring of a German Shepherd, because I'm seeing that coloring, but I feel like it's a small dog, so it's got a terrier vibe to it. So there's a dog there with her as well that might have passed, or that might be connected to you also. Also, your mom brings butterflies, so butterflies are connected to mom. Mm-hmm. Let's see. People always say, like, why do you only read males? I mean, why do you only read women? You don't read males. It's because the majority of the people on here are females. So it's not like I have, males popping up all over the place. Typically, and that's always been the case with the work that I do. It's usually mostly women or females that are drawn to the work that I do. But I mean, there's definitely males, but it's just there are not as many of them. So for you guys, I'm looking for a guy because I don't want to just read for females as well. I want to give everybody a chance. Bounce around here because I'm going to switch through here because I'm not seeing. Coco Bunny Nikki 1. Hello, Ferny. I love your hair, by the way, girl. Who are my spirit guides, and do they have messages for me? Thank you. Yes, you have 3 guides. Um, the main guide is the main guide's name is, because that's the one I actually would say you probably need to focus more on. Charisse. I think it's female, so I think it's Charisse. Her name is Charisse. So the main guide's name is Charisse. Okay. Message. If you are going to be coordinating or doing any kind of coordinating work with people who also have the same vision as you, make sure that you hold others accountable, because you don't want to be trying to do stuff with other people and they're not really like meeting their expectations or they're meeting obligations. So any kind of projects or anything like that, make sure you hold others accountable. Okay. All right, guys, I am out of time. So I am wishing you all lots of love, lots of positivity. Please take care of yourself, and I will see you all on Instagram on Wednesday. So I will see you then, okay?